All right, guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man Jay. So some of you guys are on the fence whether or not you should buy the Pixel 8 or the Pixel 8 Pro. Some of you guys already have your Pixel 8 Pro or your Pixel 8. And in this video, I'm going to talk about some reasons why I think you probably could consider buying the Pixel 8 over the 8 Pro. Now, this is just my opinion on this, so you take this for what it's worth. But I'm going to try to be as reasonable as possible. That's something that I try to do when I'm doing these kind of comparisons or just brief walkthroughs of devices. So the 8 obviously is the smaller of the two. The 8 is going to be one that's very easy on the hand. If you haven't seen my latest video, these are the Caseology Athlex grippable protective cases. These are way better purchase than the official Google cases. I really was going to do it, but when I saw these, I thought these look better. They feel phenomenal, and they're just a better all-around fit for the Pixel. Can't believe these are only $9. Link to purchase is down below, so just take note of that if you decide to wonder what case I'm having here on these. I mean, this case is crazy. I did a separate video on it recently, so check that video out. But the phone itself, if you're on the fence about should you get the Pixel 8, the first reason why I'm going to tell you that you probably should go for this, if you're questioning this, if you're questioning coming from the 7 to the 8, I say just stay with the 7 if you just really, don't want to spend any money, and if your phone isn't broken or you don't like the trade-in value, whatever your reasoning is for yourself, just stay with it. Stay with the 7. But if you're coming from the 6 on backwards, or any of those devices, and you're really on the fence and you really just want an upgrade, here's what this video is about. So if you're wondering some reasons why you should probably consider the 8 over the 8 Pro, the first reason obviously for me is price. This is $300 less. $300 less, folks, and you're still getting pretty much the same device when it comes to quality. Yeah. Now there are some differences, obviously. This device right here has a much larger display coming in at 6.7, and it is a very nice display. However, this 6.2-inch display is great too. I mean, as far as screen quality goes, it's really good. Everything is great on both of these. I don't see any problems with either one of these devices, man. So the screen quality on them, they're both really good. So yeah, you do get a 6.2-inch display, and it's 1080 versus the 1344 on the Pixel 8 Pro. And also the Pixel 8 Pro is LTPO, so that means that it can drop all the way down to 1 hertz, all the way up to 120 hertz. And then this one is just a regular OLED. That is OLED as well, but this is an OLED, and it goes from 60 hertz to 120 hertz. And you can check that by going into your display settings and going down here to smooth display, and check that box if you want it to feel really smooth to you. So that's something you should take note of. But they're both 20:9 aspect ratio, so they're not too narrow, they're not too wide. But since the Pixel 8 is smaller, it's more narrow, so you don't have, and I know these are in a case, but yeah, I love these cases. They feel really good. It really brings this phone to life when using it. And I'm not really a case person too much, but nonetheless, it's not too narrow and it's not too wide. That's something that you should take note of. So another difference in these phones is that the screen brightness, I just talked about the screen size and everything and resolution, and things like that, but the screen brightness is almost spot on. You have a peak brightness of 2400 on the 8 Pro and a peak brightness of 2000 on the 8. So folks, you're getting a nice bump there. That is a nice bump over the 7 as well. The peak brightness on the 7 was 1400. These are all HDR compliant, so they're going to be great. Now, some differences in these phones really just come down to small things after the size and things like that. So you've got a little bit smaller battery, and believe it or not, this gets better battery than the Pro because it doesn't have that higher resolution display, and it's also bigger. So you do have a 50 milliamp hour battery in the Pro, but you have a 45-75 in the non-Pro, the 8. It's great. They both have wireless charging. They both can last more than a day, but this one is going on 3 or 4 days. I think I'm on my 3rd or 4th day. Now, granted, I don't have as much usage out of this one because this is my 3rd SIM, but it's got some usage, and it stands to a test to show you that the standby time on this is like iPhone standby time. Let me show you the battery, and you can see my battery usage here. I'm on 4 days with 2.5 hours of screen on time. And you're going to say, well, that's not great. You're not really using it. Well, I am using it. I'm just not like some people. And I have this discussion all the time. I'm using it. I'm just not using it the way you want me to use it. You want me to show 8 hours of screen on time with 4 days. And I'm not on my phone that much. This is probably how a lot of people's phones might look who are maybe a moderate to light user. 4 days with this device is sick. And I still got 43% left. And I am using it. I've done some phone calls, some emails. I'm using it for what I use this phone number for. And that's what you need to consider. Now, this has a phone number as well. I don't just have phones laying around with no phones in them most of the time. And phones that I have that don't have a SIM card, I rotate over to them. So, I've learned that, I don't have as many apps on my phone as others either. And I think that might be helping me as well because I don't have anything to run wild in the background. So that's something that you need to consider. Even though this phone has a smaller battery by 500 milliamps, it's going to get better battery life based on how you use it. And then also, it doesn't have that really high refresh rate on the screen. It just doesn't. It doesn't. So, yeah, but they're pretty much neck and neck. They have fast charging, wireless charging, everything. They have it. Now, one thing that's different on this from the 7 has fast wireless charging. And I think, battery wise, I don't know why they switched it up. This has a smaller battery too. That's kind of strange, but you would think they would put the fast wireless charging on the newer devices, but that's something that you got to pay attention to, some of these little things that companies change. This has fast wireless charging, and not that it's that fast, but the fact remains is it has it, and they took it away on this one and just gave it standard wireless charging, which is why I'm not a fan of wireless charging much at all these days because it doesn't really mean anything. If I'm not going to charge overnight, which I don't, I think the only phone I charge overnight is my iPhone. I just put it on the nightstand on the little mount that I have just so I can have the nice little clock and calendar. It's pretty much what it is because I don't normally charge overnight. But this phone, folks, basically all I'm telling you is that it has great battery. It has phenomenal battery. It really does. And it lasts longer than this device. Now, I think if I were to use these devices the same way, this one definitely wouldn't. Well, I do use them the same way. This one doesn't get as much phone call time and as much media time. But they're being used. All the same apps are on here. There's nothing different about what's on here. The backup comes from each other. So this one just is a third phone number. So, but if I use these the same and pick them up and do the same thing at the same time, I think this one will still get better battery life because of the resolution and things like that. Now, you do get 8 gigs of RAM. The starting memory on these are 128, but you only get 2 options on this one, which is 128 or 256. Now, I think this is a huge downfall because for $699, $700 basically, this should have 256 gigs of storage. There's no reason why this doesn't have 256 gigs of storage. It's a slap in the face, I guess, at this point with these low memory options. The fact that Google still offers a 128 on these beautiful phones is just ridiculous to me. And by the way, if you're wondering what's recording, take a recording break. We're recording a Pixel with a Pixel. Pixel 8 Pro Bay version is being recorded with this one. So let me show you here. I'd love to show you guys what I'm recording with. Bay, where you at? Boom, there you are. Yeah. So how's the Pixel doing? But yeah, I don't like these memory options that they're doing with this. Now, the 8 gigs of RAM, it is DDR5X, so that's fine. It's going to be a really speedy phone versus the 7 that wasn't. It was just DDR5. Not that we can really tell too much, but the fact remains that, you've got these 128 gig options that it's just pointless to me. So if you want this phone and you think you want 512 gig, you have the option to get the 256 gig and get the little plug-in type C things, but people probably really don't want to do that. They don't want to carry around something they can lose more than likely, or just carry this extra thing in their purse, or their pocket, or whatever, ladies, you do, or fellas carry it in your pocket. You don't want to do that more than likely. You just want to have everything on the phone, and then if you want to do a backup, then you can do a backup. So Memory options, to me, not too happy with that. Now this does have the Tensor G3 opposed to the G2 in the 7 and going backwards, but I don't think that's going to play too much of a part in here. The performance, to me, from what I've seen so far, is actually really good. So now a big difference in these phones are, okay, so the front cameras are the same. 10.5 megapixel dual pixel autofocus selfie cameras, f2.2 aperture, 95-degree field of view for the ultra wide on the front. It's hidden. It's hidden. It's good to go. No issues whatsoever. That is a bump up from the 7, which had a 92.8 field of view, but 95, you might not be able to see the difference at all. But the difference here is that this one has the rear camera setup. It's what's different. They're offering a 50 megapixel on both of these for the main shooter, and that's good. This is why I say this phone right here is actually really, I mean, for $300 less, you get the same main shooter, but the differences are kind of small. So you get a multi-zone view for the Laserdetect autofocus and a single zone view. So basically this can pick up more and this picks up less, but it's still 50 megapixels, f1.68 aperture, folks. That is just ridiculous. That is great for this little compact phone, which, I know it's still a 50 megapixel on this one as well, but this is a quad wide angle camera, and these are octa-core, Octa PD, as Google has it listed, and this is also f1.8. But still, folks, they're all good. They're all good. They have the 82 field of range. I mean, it's very technical and very detailed in some of these changes, but to a tech enthusiast, it might mean a little bit more, but to the regular consumer, you're just going to look at how good the quality is. And the quality is great on both of these phones, man. I'm telling you, Google has stepped up their game for video. It is sick. I'm going to start recording some content with this one right here, the smaller version, because I want to show you that it's the same. So after that, though, they have the main shooter the same, but this is where, if you're a pro user, which most consumers are not pro users, this is where the Pixel 8 Pro might take advantage of, your thoughts. So here's where we get the ultra wide on the 8 is a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera with autofocus. Unlike the 7, it didn't have autofocus on the ultra wide. This now does. So that little small change that they did is a reason for you to go ahead and come up to it. But it also has just a 2x optical zoom on this when you're doing it's a digital zoom. But for the ultra wide on the Pro, it is a 48 megapixel ultra wide with autofocus, and it also has a telephoto lens, which is a 48 megapixel. I mean, it's good. You've got super res zoom at 30 times. So the 8 Pro, the camera is technically a Pro in comparison, but you really wouldn't know it too much when looking at these. The software is the same. You just see the extra lens here. You can see the extra lens on the 8 there. And, the software is just identical. It's not much that's different in this quality here. So I think if you're going to, let me set this one. I think I don't have it. Let me think if I have this one set. Yeah. Here we go. Yeah, there. I think if you're a person who wants to do more with your phone, and you're a person who's you think you might want to do a lot of photography or something like that, you might want to consider going to the Pro. But we're talking about value to consumer here, and this is a tough one. This is a tough one. If you're really set on getting that best shot, I guess, or you're going to need the telephoto lens, or you just want the higher pixel count or the higher resolution footage, then the Pro is going to be for you. Simply put, it's going to be the phone that you might want to gravitate towards. But I think you'll be totally happy. I think most consumers will be happy with this type of device right here. I don't think you're going to be disappointed. They both have the same cameras on the front, 10.5 dual pixel autofocus selfie. They have all that. So after all that techie stuff and reading that, basically this is a Pro version, and this one is not as listed, and it just has a few more features on the Pro. But overall, folks, you can save a ton of cash. I mean, a ton of cash by going with the 8. It's just a way to go if you want to save the money. Now I have the Hazel version of this device. This case is so nice. I bought this recently, about obviously almost a week ago, and I bought this one at launch. This is my Obsidian, and then blessings to Google for sending over the Bay combination here with the Bay watch. Bay watch, you get it. Some of you guys might be too young, but yeah, man, I think the Pixel 8 is definitely, it's a win, but some people, you might be, I don't want you to be influenced by influencers. I'm not trying to influence you. Even though I do creation like this, I want you to get the best deal. And like I said at the beginning of the video, if you have the 7, you have this phone. I have a lot of Pixels. This is just the last generation. Clean my buddy up. If you have this phone right here, you don't have to switch. I'm just telling you that the 8 has, that's the only thing I don't like about the glossy Obsidian, the fingerprints. I'm team no case, but when I saw these, I had to get them. Link down below to grab these. It's not a sponsorship. It's just, I like these. I bought these and I was like, man, I can't believe more people are not buying this case. Nonetheless, if you have this 7, folks, stick with the 7. I mean, don't spend the money if you don't have to. Just don't do it. But if you're looking for something great and you want to move to the 8, don't be late. Hey, stop. Yeah, this is a great purchase, folks. I need to get a tempered glass for this one. I don't have one yet. But overall, folks, there are tons of reasons why you will tell yourself that you should not buy the 8 over the 8 Pro. But if you just look at the specs on paper, they're both great. This is technically a pro camera. It's just missing a few options that this camera actually has. But do you need those? Probably not. I say save yourself the $300. Don't be like me and buy all this stuff. I'm the guinea pig for you. So using these, you have the same experience. There's nothing different. Well, there is some things that are different. There are some things that are different, but not a lot. Not a lot to where, you'll see much difference. I think you'll enjoy the pocketability of this phone right here, and you get the same great photos and video from these right here, man. I'm telling you, you will not be disappointed. Now, this does have, the function. The Pro got all the function. I forgot about, has the temperature thing and all these different things I don't even use, to be honest. It's a quick little flex to say I have it, but if I'm being real with you, just because I do creation, that doesn't mean I use all these features. I forget all about a lot of this stuff. I like tech. I like to experience all the latest gadgets and phones, and Google has this 8 lineup, folks, has taken Google to the next level. I told you I'm recording with a Pixel 8 Pro. Did you? I mean, look. Did you forget? There's Bay. There's Bay. Phenomenal. Google has taken it to the next level across the board now. They were only lacking, to me, in my personal opinion, in video. Now they are on, folks. They are on. They're in it. They are on it, and they are in the top 3 now. Possibly number 1. But it's your man Jay. Should you buy the 8? Yes, you should. If I had to choose between the 2 and keep it for a couple of years, and I wanted to save, if money was the thing, I guess, even if money is not an object for you, if it's not something that's bothering you, you're like, oh, I got the money, I'm just trying to make a decision for something I'll be comfortable with. As far as feel in hand, this is just great. This is a great size. I always felt like 6 inches or 6.2 inches, no bigger than that, but it has to have a small enough body. And that's where the 8 comes in. It has a great feel in hand, and it is just great. So the smaller powerhouse devices should exist. Like these phones technically should have the same specs. This is where I wish Apple would do Google would do like Apple and bring pretty much the same powerhouse device in a different size. But they don't do it. They have a Pro version that's big and only a big Pro version. So Google, if you're listening, bring a small Pro version. We would love it. That's it. It's your man Jay. Hope you guys enjoyed. Do you want to buy the Pixel 8 or the 8 Pro? If you have purchased, which one do you have? Nonetheless, if you have a Pixel altogether, you are Team Pixel. It's your man Jay. I'll see you in the next comments. I'll see you down below in the comments. Take care. Blooper. I'm staying. It's staying.